If you went to Westbrook University, you would probably never notice her. And that was exactly how she wanted it. She was the girl who always sat in the exact same corner of the library, on the third floor, near the big window that faced the old oak trees. The spot was perfect because it had a wall behind her and a clear view of both entrances to the reading room. Not that anyone knew she thought about things like that. To everyone else, she was just the quiet one. The girl with the second-hand headphones that were too big for her head, always wearing the same faded sweaters in shades of gray and brown. Colors that made you look away. Colors that helped you disappear. If someone accidentally sat at the table next to hers, she would flinch. Just a little. Just enough for them to feel bad and maybe move a seat away. She kept her head down, her dark hair falling forward like a curtain, and she would stare at her art history textbooks for hours. Her notes were perfect, organized, beautiful handwriting. But if you looked really closely at the margins, you would see small sketches. Not of buildings or statues from the textbooks. Sketches of hands. Hands holding things. Hands in specific positions. Anatomical drawings that showed she knew exactly where the pressure points were, where the bones connected, where a human body was strongest, and where it was most fragile. The only person on campus who ever got more than a whisper from her was the old janitor. He was a man in his late 60s named Mr. Something. Nobody ever caught his full name, and he had been working at Westbrook for over 30 years. He had kind eyes and moved slow because of his bad knee. He would come to clean the third floor around 9 every night, and she would always be packing up. She never left a mess. Not a single crumb, not a scrap of paper. He noticed that. One night he told her, "You know, in 30 years, I never had to clean up after you." That's a first. She had almost smiled. Almost. After that, he would sometimes nod at her, and she would nod back. It was the closest thing to a friendship she had on campus. The semester was moving along like water in a slow stream. Days blended together. Lectures, library, apartment, sleep, repeat. She liked the routine. Routine meant safe. Routine meant nobody looked at you twice. She was 3 months into her cover, her life, when the posters started appearing. The first one she saw was taped to the glass door of the library. Bright pink paper. A girl's face smiling back. Big eyes, big hair, big smile. Missing, the poster said in bold letters. Have you seen Maya? The girl in the photo looked like she had never been quiet a day in her life. The kind of person who laughed loud in the cafeteria, who talked with her hands, who took up space in the world. Maya was an environmental science major. She was the one who organized the protests against the big company that wanted to build something near the river. She was the one who got in the face of the campus security guy when he tried to take down her signs. She was loud, she was bright, and now she was gone. The campus buzzed about it for exactly 2 days. That's how these things go. First day, shock. Second day, fear. Third day, life goes on for everyone except the people who actually loved her. Police came. They talked to her friends, her roommates, her boyfriend. A young officer with a tired face stood by the library, asking students if they had seen anything. Nobody had seen anything. Nobody ever sees anything. But she had. She remembered because she noticed things. It was an old habit. A survival instinct so deep it was like breathing. 3 days before Maya disappeared, she had seen a van parked on the side road near the Humanities building. Nothing special about it. White, little bit dirty, out-of-state plates. The kind of van you see and immediately forget. Except it was there the next morning too. And the next. Parked in the exact same spot, just far enough from the security cameras. Then there were the men. 2 of them. They wore campus security uniforms, but something was wrong with them. She couldn't explain it, she just felt it. the way they walked. Security guards walk like people who are bored, who want to be somewhere else. These men walked like soldiers trying to look like they were bored. Their eyes moved too much. They scanned crowds the way she scanned crowds. They looked at faces, not at buildings. They looked at hands, not at backpacks. She had watched them from her window seat, watched them pretend to check door handles, watched them nod at students with fake smiles. And she had felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. A cold tightening in her chest. The old feeling. The hunter's feeling. But she pushed it down. She pushed it way down deep where she kept all the other parts of her old life. She was done with that. She had promised herself. No more hunting. No more finding people who didn't want to be found. No more of the work. She was just a girl now. A quiet girl who liked art history. A girl who wanted the invisible dot, so she did nothing. She watched the news reports, read the posts, looked at Maya's smiling face on the pink paper, and she did nothing. It wasn't her problem. She wasn't that person anymore. Then came the night. Everything changed. She was in the library later than usual. A paper was due, and she needed to finish her research. It was almost 10 when she finally packed her bag. The third floor was empty. The lights hummed softly. She put on her headphones, not to listen to music, just to have the excuse to ignore people, and headed for the stairs. As she passed the art history wing on the second floor, she heard something. A thud. Then a voice old and shaky saying, "Please, I don't know anything." It was Mr. Something, the janitor. She moved without thinking. Her body took over before her brain could stop it. She stepped into the dark hallway, pressing herself against the wall, moving silent as shadow. She peeked around the corner. There was Mr. Something on the floor. His cleaning cart was tipped over. Standing over him was one of the men, the fake security guard. He wasn't wearing the uniform now, just dark clothes. He was holding something in his hand, a small lockpick kit, and he was kneeling by Maya's old locker, the one they had taped shut with police tape. The man hadn't meant to hurt the janitor. Probably just pushed him when the old man surprised him. But Mr. Something was old, and his head had hit the floor hard. He was conscious but dazed, blood trickling from a cut on his forehead. The man cursed, looked around, then fled out the fire exit. The alarm blared. She waited 10 seconds, made sure he was gone, then ran to the janitor. She knelt beside him, pulled off her headphones, used the sleeve of her sweater to press against his head. "It's okay," she whispered. "I'm here. It's okay." He looked up at her, eyes trying to focus. "I saw him," he mumbled. "At her locker. I just asked him what he was doing. He pushed me." "Don't talk," she said. "Save your strength. Help is coming." The alarm had done its job. Within minutes, campus security arrived, then an ambulance. She stayed with him until the paramedics took over. She gave a simple statement to the police officer. "I was leaving the library. I heard a noise. I saw a man running out the fire exit. I don't know what he looked like. It was dark." Lies. She knew exactly what he looked like. She had seen his face clearly. She had memorized his features, his build, the way he moved. It was automatic. Like breathing Dot at the hospital, they let her sit with him for a few minutes while they waited for test results. He had a mild concussion, they said. He would be okay, but he would need to rest. He looked at her with those kind, tired eyes. "They won't find her, will they?" He said quietly. "The police. They don't know how to look for someone who doesn't want to be found." She didn't answer. She just sat there, holding the old man's hand. "My wife and I, we never had kids," he said. His voice was weak. "But that girl, Maya, she used to bring me coffee. Every Tuesday. Sayada reminded her of her grandfather. She'd sit and talk to me about her classes, her plans to save the world. He squeezed her hand. She was going to do it too. Save the world. She had that fire in her. The room was quiet except for the beeping of machines. "I'm just an old man," he whispered. "I can't do anything. But you." He looked at her, and for a moment, his eyes were sharp. "You're not like the others, are you? I've watched you for months. You see things. You notice." She looked away. He didn't push. He just said, "If you could. If you could find her, I would be grateful. The world would be grateful." She stayed until they made her leave. She walked home through the cold night, her hands in her pockets, her head down. Back to her small apartment with the art prints on the wall and the locked drawer under her bed. She sat on her floor for a long time, staring at that drawer. Inside was a different life. Papers with names she didn't want to remember. Tools she had promised herself she would never use. A passport with a different face. She thought about Maya's smile on the pink poster. She thought about the old man in the hospital bed. She thought about the way the fake security guard moved, the way he ran. Professional. Trained. These weren't random criminals. This was something else. She closed her eyes, and for the first time in months, she let herself remember. Remember the jobs. The hunts. The moments of stepping out of shadows. The faces of people who thought they could hide forever. She was good at it. The best. That was the problem. When she opened her eyes, it was almost dawn. She made a choice. Not a loud choice. Not a dramatic one. Just a quiet decision, like turning a page in a book. She got up, went to her desk, and opened her laptop. Not for art history. For something else. She started say,